Hey everyone, today in this video, I'm going to be checking out the EUREKA 3-in-1 Swivel Lightweight Stick Vacuum, specifically the model number NES100. If you're interested in this vacuum or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Take a look at the retail box and packaging here, very simple and straightforward. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and see what's inside. Here are all the contents. First up, we have our owner's guide and manual, followed by our handle extension. Is made out of metal and plastic, and we do have cable management for that long power cord. Next, you'll see we have our crevice tool, followed by our main suction nozzle with EUREKA's logo and branding on it. On the back side, you'll see that suction channel here with no brush roller, bristle brush, or anything like that. And then lastly, we have the unit itself. Let's look at this in more detail. On the main unit, the first thing you'll probably notice is the integrated cord. It's nice and long. Next, you'll see our controls and buttons up at the top. Toggle on and off switch. We have our handle release if we want to remove or add that handle to use it more like a traditional push vacuum. Then we have our dustbin release right there. Then we can pull that out to clean and empty as needed. There's a look at the inside there, and then it just snaps right back in place. You'll see the very bottom here. We can use it as is, like a nice handheld vac, or we can add any of our accessories, either one right there, or that extension handle too. Really up to you and how you want to use this. There's a look at the side profile. Here's a look at the very back with our product specs and lots of barcodes. Here's a look at the other side, top-down view. I really like the blue, great color there. I actually want to see more of that on this vacuum. Now let's go ahead, let's get this set up. Technically, as we mentioned, it's already set up and ready to go as it is. Just plug it in, powered on, and you're off to cleaning. But I want to show you adding a couple of the accessories here to get a feel for it. But just gently press in place. There we go. We now have the crevice tool installed. And then you just pull to remove. We could add our main suction nozzle, even just as is, like that, and use it. Pull to remove. And then lastly, we can take our handle here, just line it up like so. It'll snap in place. And now we can add either of these attachments. Again, it's really up to you and how you want to configure this. It'll depend on a literally case-by-case basis for whatever you're trying to clean. Now let's go ahead, let's power it on and try it out. Here's a look at the carpet after we vacuumed it so you can get a feel for the vacuum lines that this cleaner is going to leave behind. In this case, they are basically non-existent or very, very faint. Alright, so we just got our first clean finished up. I wanted to show you the results here from our real-world cleaning environment. So here's our main suction nozzle. Just a little bit of dirt and dust collected along the backside here and in the corners right there. A little bit of wear and tear and some debris on the roller wheels as well on the front. Doesn't look bad. And then you'll see what we were able to vacuum up in the dustbin. So we still have a lot of room here, but you will notice all the hair collects and pulls at the top, blocking the filter. So you still will want to change this periodically to get the best results. Let's dump that out right here. You'll see that to empty and change this, it does involve a couple of steps. It's not as simple as just dumping everything out. But look at all that hair. That is disgusting. Tons of pet hair, tons of dirt and dust. I can't believe the fine particles it was able to trap. With these filters though, they will exhaust a lot of the really fine dirt and dust particles out. But with that hair there, it was able to trap some of them. Looks good. Got a leaf in there too. Let's just set that down. We'll dump out our larger pieces here. So some food debris, crumbs, dirt, all the good stuff you'd expect to find around your house. That stuff is nasty. And looking up close right here, you'll find a little bit of dust and dirt collected, and that again is going to be what's making its way through the filter and being exhausted back out. It's time to see how our Eureka vacuum stacks up against the competition. We'll be looking at some key tech specs and features to compare it against the average vacuum available on the market today. First and foremost, just know this is the most basic vacuum you can get, but you're not paying that much for it. So let's see, compared to the average, is it a good, worthwhile trade-off? And keep in mind, this vacuum only costs about 10% of the average vacuum that's out there on the market today. So you'll see in regards to bin capacity, surprisingly here, we are above average at 0.7 liters compared to 0.6 liters. Definitely a big win for us. The larger the bin size, why that's important even is because that means you have to make fewer trips to the trash can. Next, we have our rated power. This one's actually surprising to me. This is measured in watts, 240 watt rated power compared to the average of 361. Yes, it's below average, but typically when you're looking at budget vacuums, you'll get around 150 or so. But in this case, we're showing 240, so that's good to see. Next, we have our max CFM. This is a good indicator to get a feel for how powerful this vacuum is in regards to its suction capabilities. So in this case, we're actually above average at 31 CFM compared to 26. I was blown away by that. Great to see here. Again, some of that has to do with just this is strictly basically just a sucking vacuum because there's no spinning roller brush. I think some of that has to play into it, so they make it more powerful with the suction, but you're not getting any assistance. You're not getting any activation or agitation from a brush roller. But in this case, we're about 5 CFM above average. Next, we have our deep clean test. This is where we embed coffee grounds into carpet and vacuum it up. Surprisingly here, guys, yes, we got a perfect score with this vacuum. You can expect perfect scores with this test with how we do it, but typically it's going to be high-end cordless or corded vacuum cleaners. The average is 94, so most vacuums do a good job, but this one had a key advantage, and that is actually because the nozzle is just straight suction. So we have a really good seal here. So on the carpet, it was able to vacuum everything up, where a lot of times brush rollers might knock some coffee grounds away, reducing a vacuum score, or with how this whole nozzle and area is designed, they have little gaps and stuff here that's great for larger objects to make their way through, but it does lose a little bit of that seal for suction. But this one on our carpet, it created a really strong seal, and it did a great job vacuuming up our coffee grounds. So does that mean this vacuum's actually good for carpets? Well, that's a great question. This particular vacuum, I would say, would be great if you spilled coffee grounds, as we tested, or maybe some sand in your carpet. It also depends on the thickness of your carpet, but overall, you're not gonna get that nice, clean look and feel using this vacuum. There's no brush roller to help agitate and bring up hair and other stuff. But if you have some crumbs, again, sand size, coffee ground size on your carpet, sure, it'll do a good job. But would I recommend using this day in and day out to clean your carpets? No way. Moving right along to decibels. In this test, the higher the value, the louder your vacuum is. We got a score of 83 decibels, slightly below average of 86, so it's a little bit quieter. But would you have any noticeable difference between using an 83 decibel vacuum and an 86 decibel vacuum? Well, in my experience, the answer is no, so kind of a moot point. Moving right along to weight, this is measured in pounds. This vacuum weighs 2.8 pounds. It's very lightweight. It's going to be about half the average in regards to weight. And having that lower weight's great if you got to carry this around, you got to transport it, move it around the house. And it's also nice in case you get a lot of fatigue in your wrists or arms. The lighter the vacuum, hopefully the longer you'll be able to vacuum. So where does that leave us with this vacuum cleaner? Well, let me share with you my final thoughts. This vacuum does a lot right. There's just not many options to get you a vacuum. If you just need a vacuum that's new, look no further. This is what you can expect. Versatile in its configuration. Use the suction nozzle, use the crevice tool, or you can use it handheld and the extension. That would be great for like cobwebs, dust, things that's hard to reach, maybe 5 or 10 feet up in the air. 16.5-foot extension cord, also giving you plenty of reach. I'd like to see that even longer in the future, but I know that would probably add to the cost. Cord storage is great. It supports itself upright, so there's really not much more you can ask for at this price. It would be cool if they gave us some LED lights. That would make this more functional. But this vacuum cleaner really exists on the market, in my opinion, to replace a broom and a dustpan. So if you have larger crumbs, things like that, not like too big like Cheerios or stuff that you're going to start to push around, but just a lot of crumbs and debris on your hard floors and surfaces, that's where this vacuum will really excel. If you need a quick handheld vacuum for your car, your couch, things like that, I think that's where this vacuum will give you the best experience. Now, if you're vacuuming your car, like the floor mats and stuff, if they're really dirty with fine dirt and dust, the filtration isn't great on a vacuum like this. There's only so much you can do to, you know, make something this competitive and still turn a profit. So there's going to have to be compromises. But overall, this would excel like cleaning your couches, right? Crumbs like that, maybe a little mess on the floor here or there, wherever you'd want to use like a broom and a dustpan. That's where I think this fills a need and a void around your house.